This coverage will be brought to you with 0 YouTube ads for the first 24 hours, courtesy of Arby's. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 2020 Discraft LEDGESTONE Insurance Open. We have got round 2 front 9 action, stop 7 of 10 on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and we are Big Berry commentary. Jeremy Koling joined in the booth by Paul Ulibarri.
I am here, and I am ready to see some really good golf.
Yeah, we've got Kevin Jones in the lead. First place after an amazing round 1. He really torched the back 9. Gregg Barsby with a 9 under as well. 50% of the holes birdie, played bogey-free in round 1, which is, I'm pretty sure, the only person in the field to do that. And of course, we got this stud right here at 9 under. Only 1 bogey for you.
100% scramble, which would mean no bogeys.
Oh, no bogeys in round 1. And James Conrad back on lead card. He is at 8 under par. It is a tight group of people at the top, and it is a very difficult course. As you can see here on hole 1, we are starting off with a doozy. A lot of trees right there off the tee. There's a couple different options. There's a backhand wide flip up. There's a turnover sidearm down the second middle gap. You don't see really anyone go at the very straightest gap. Sometimes you'll see a flick roller too. There's a lot of different options to get up there.
From Greenwood, Arkansas, Kevin Jones.
And with these scores so hot here on the league group, what a story it would be if anyone can match their round 1 performance on a course that is so difficult to duplicate your lines.
And Kevin looks like he's planning on doing so, though, with a really nice shot. Scoots into the circle out of 20, 25 feet for bird.
Mm-hmm.
He made that look way too easy.
Yeah, it's not.
2018 World Champion, Gregg Barsby.
It's got to be a pretty awesome thing to hear every time that someone mentions an accolade of yours. The 2018 World Champion. And Gregg going with that flick roller, going the super inside line, and look at this cutting out. It should start cutting back now. Oh, it just barely drifts a bit too long, but that was a great gap.
Yeah, interesting gap. I try to go I guess it would be the second gap.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes inside left, cut out, which is pretty technical and tough.
Barsby is such a joy to watch in the woods. This is a really exciting prospect to watch him attack this course.
Going with Swampy here.
I love that you have names for all your, maybe not all of your discs, but a good bit of them. And that just needed to cut a little bit sooner, but still, you're going to be looking with a straddle putt from 35, 40.
Yeah, no, I was happy with it. You beat those trees, get in the woods, give yourself a look. When you opt for the sidearm roller, you're basically looking for something circle's edge at best.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really rare that you get that to stop inside.
You did it yesterday in round 1. You almost rolled the pin. But you're right.
Like you said, it's really hard to duplicate your shots on a course like this.
Mm-hmm.
And throwing the backhand shot like James and Kevin both do, this just gives me an anxiety attack.
Oh, gosh, it is such a pretty line. And James, oh my God, off the Cajun, just like he left off last year, drawing some metal. James Conrad, he seems to be all over the basket here at Northwood's Gold.
So we didn't know what happened from the tee. We just heard the crowd kind of get excited, and we thought, oh, maybe you hit the pole, but that was inches from being in.
Oh, no. And I think that stopped.
Yeah, I got fortunate there.
That could have gone a long way down that hill behind the basket. You can just see a piece of Barsby's shirt. And that could roll also.
We went sidearm roller and then putt roller for our second shot. Not the best. This is really good.
Yep. And Kevin leaving himself the only really open putt of the group. All 4 players, somewhat miraculously, all looking for the birdie. Not something you normally see on this card or on this hole. And James makes good. So Gregg will have a little straddle out left for his short par putt. Taking his time and making sure not to make any unnecessary rushed errors on the first hole. Oh, and you stopped pretty close. It looked like you may have gone into that second rough. But just a little pitch par there. So 2 birdies and 2 pars on 1, and we are off to the races as we move on to hole 2. A par 3, 419-foot shot that really feels like it breaks really hard to the left off the tee, but it's just a little tiny bend, and then the basket actually is to the right once you get down this hill. So the shot is actually a lot straighter than it feels off the tee box. Best play is going to be a forehand anhyzer that stables up and somehow makes this gap, crosses over the creek, and then you're rewarded with an incredible 2, but a very tough thing to do. Kevin with a little bit too much anhyzer.
James just playing for the putter flip up. He's obviously just going for par. He did this in round 1 as well.
That was a bit tight, but getting, rolling far left. That could be in danger. Oh, wow. There is that little open line that's very tight. I didn't know if anyone would actually be going for that, but Barsby gives it a go, and it's just a few inches off left.
Yeah, it was really interesting playing with him and seeing these really unique lines that he chooses with his sidearm angles. I mean, one of the more impressive sidearmers I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. He has the control of all angles of disc. He's great at hyzer angle, great at anhyzer angle and flat, good with flippy, stable, and straight. And that takes a little bit of kick. That just needed a bit more turn, and that would have been a really great tee shot. That was a really good shot from Kevin to get through and get all the way down there to have a look. Gregg. Wow. That was incredible. The touch.
That was a lot of touch, and just to land it on the island without it even really moving was pretty crazy. Look out, squirrel. Scrambler coming in.
Coming at you. And you're going to put your scrambling rate to the test here on the second hole, as you're going to have a long par putt remaining.
Anytime I'm throwing a putter up shot when I'm in the woods, I have nothing.
Okay. Yeah.
Backhand. I really like to work my sidearm into any sort of angle, so it was actually pretty tough.
And that'll be a bogey on hole 2. Doesn't feel like it plays like a bogey. I mean, it...
Really?
Yeah, okay, I take that back. You're not... Oh, James is going to have a bogey for himself.
Ask him the same question.
Yeah, that doesn't feel good. It's just such a hard 2. It's such an elusive 2 to get. And Kevin saves his par. And I guess what I mean by that is when you take a bogey on this hole, you're losing 1 stroke. And a lot of holes on tour, when you take a bogey, you feel like you're losing 2 strokes to much of the field. And that's not the case here. In fact, only 3 players on the day were able to pick up the 2. Colton Montgomery, Luke Humphreys, and Jeffrey Renner.
Definitely a bonus, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if there's one on this course, it's hole 2, as we see a couple of bogeys. And in round 1, we didn't see a red number until late in the round, already showing why Northwood's Gold is such a difficult test as we move to hole 3, the first par 4 of the round. 550 feet. It's on the shorter side of the par 4s. The difficulty is the tee shot is a little bit tight early, and then it really is important to get out here into the grassy field. From there, it's a somewhat straightforward approach across this little ditch here, through the gap and onto this bank. But anything that it hits on this bank can roll back into the ditch and leave you a very difficult putt.
And if you have it, this is a great tool for this tee shot. It plays away from that guardian tree. The fairway really loves the shape of the power sidearm, and then just like that, it's out in the open, and that's 200-foot upshot looking right at it.
And Kevin, one of the best putter throwers on tour, that's going to be a breeze after that. Just perfect tee shot. Barsby turning this one over. And it's going to be decision time for Barsby. We saw the big booming tee shot from James in round 1, and in round 2, just a bit off, and that is Northwood's Gold to a tee. Kicking left, and he is in a bad place right now.
Yeah, that guardian tree did its job right there. It loves blocking that backhand turnover.
Mm-hmm. Just unable to get out the gap. That's going to put you in the rough. But not as bad as James is hitting, as he is pretty far back in the fairway, and he's going to have to go with a forehand. Okay. It looked like that was a lot of work to get there. And that'll set James up for a JK AVR approach. Oh, that was crafty.
Yeah, pretty nifty little setup he did there, huh? A little up and over, drop it into a nice little spot.
It's so hard to tell what the player can see from their perspective, as there's just little tiny lines throughout these woods, and each place you get is so unique. Wow, James is still hunting for the birdie, even out of position. That was a great approach. Might have a little bit of a pesky tree in the way on his putt. What do you got here?
I have the position that I usually am in the hole on the first 3 holes.
Okay. In the woods?
In the woods, kneeling down, begging for a chance. I threw my mantis there. I actually did have a nice little window to get out. It wasn't as bad as it could have been, but yeah, I got myself a little putt in the circle.
And that is exactly what we expected to see there from Kevin. A short birdie putt left. And that was actually a very hard shot to execute at that speed, to get the disc to move that far left at that ceiling restriction. Very touchy approach for Barsby.
And this one stopped on like the hillside. So it was like a weird little stance, and
you know
just
what?
couldn't get the legs.
That's exactly where I missed my putt from too. It's
Nice.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, I was like sliding down the hill. I weigh like 100 pounds more than you, so if you could imagine that. James scrambling for his par.
So you were the person that had swiped all the mud right there to where I couldn't get a stance. Thanks, dude.
It was like that for me, buddy. Blame the guys that were teeing off at 8 a.m. Kevin picking up the only birdie of the card.
He makes it look so easy, just
When
power.
he gets on fire.
Yeah, power sidearm out and
Yeah.
then easy approach.
My legs would fall
And so
off.
one thing we got the field has to watch out for with Kevin Jones is that his ability to catch fire is almost unmatched the way that he does it. Once he starts feeling that jump putt, I mean, it doesn't matter where he throws the disc, it's going in the basket. And he's got the dual threat with the power backhand, the power forehand, and he's got straight shots with both. So that's a huge weapon, especially on a hole like this. Hole 4, 540 feet, just dead straight the whole way. Low ceiling tunnel, tight gap all the way down, and treacherous rough left side and right side. The play is going to be a backhand putter to the gap, about 250 feet or so, or just going for it. You said James said he was going to go for it today. We know we saw you get all the way down there in round 1. Let's see what Kevin Jones elects to do. It looks like he's going for the putter play.
Yeah, he skips it into the end of the fence so that he can get the meter off of it and then have a straight play. I'm like, wow, you're brilliant.
That's incredibly wise. And Barsby going with the backhand, a little bit more speed, and that trickles into the fairway. That's a good place to be right there. Yeah, and you called it. James Conrad going with his Star Wraith. Oh, just a bit overturned. And you're really at the mercy of what kind of kick you get from there. Not the greatest kick, kind of back into the woods a bit. But he did kind of bite off a pretty big chunk of the fairway with that before it hit the trees.
Damn. He's going for it. Same disc. Watch out.
And this is your Z Nuke.
Yes.
Oh, an early high, just fighting its way down the left side. No really bad kicks to speak of, but just wasn't quite on line.
Yeah, a little too high is all. I think the flip up would have been just fine as far as the line was, but that's a beautiful shot from Kevin.
Yeah, that was
but the
a
height
great
was
shot.
was way off, and I paid for it. Wow. You don't know which hole I'm on. Hole 1, hole 2, hole 3.
It really has kind of been the same thing so far. Every hole. But it's kind of like every hole. It could happen to you on holes 1 through 18. Look at that shot from Gregg.
Yeah, that is great. Great control, good angle.
That looked like a putter, I think.
It was a rhino.
That was
Yep.
his rhino? Yeah.
Yep.
He likes to flick that rhino. And man, we've already seen a couple different trick shots from Conrad. Forehand on hole 3, and then kind of like a tomahawk or a thumber. I couldn't tell which way he was holding that.
And that was great. I mean, he made it out to Conrad range for sure.
Mm-hmm. And Heavy Heiser with the Z-Ringer.
That was my flippy putter. I needed to flip
Okay.
it up a little bit to get the flight up there. I mean, that's where I'm jealous of these guys is wide open backhand turnover, but just don't have the control that they do with that angle. So it's a bit tougher, which I can talk to you about because you can totally relate.
Oh, I can definitely relate to that. That is a huge bit of confidence that would be added to my game if that was a shot that I had in my arsenal. And Kevin Jones right now, folks, he is feeling it 3 under. Played that hole just to precision, just playing it off the fence intentionally, putting himself in the spot he wants to throw that mid-range, making a good putt. And that's a good par save.
Yeah, really fortunate. I was in when I threw my out, I hit something and kind of stayed in the middle, so it gave me a chance.
And Gregg in for his first birdie of the round. Kevin was just kind of walking away from this card early on, but Gregg able to stay within 3 shots. Hole 5, par 3, 354 feet. This is really tough. This is a very tight gap that you have to throw a backhand turnover or a very flippy forehand that stands up, moving from right side to left side of the fairway. But really the backhand is the best play. You're going to see a backhand fairway drivers, maybe backhand mid-ranges, anything that kicks off the fairway, and you are in doom. Kevin, this is wide, and that is the kiss of death with the early kick left. It is going to be a very difficult place to manage a scramble.
Yeah, his shot shape was good. It just needed to be, and that was almost perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was just slightly overturned.
What am I doing?
What are you doing?
I'm making all these weird faces.
Wow, come on. That was insane. What a shot. What do you, come on. That was a good shot. Say it.
It was a really good shot.
Yeah, there he is.
This is a hole, though, where if you hit the gap, you're happy. Like, Gregg got a bad kick, but I guarantee he was still pretty happy about the initial gap being hit because, like you saw with Kevin's, as soon as you're offline, it can turn into a bogey hole really, really, really fast. I mean, he's going to have something, but it's going to be super difficult.
And James almost able to recreate the magic from round 1 on this one. He's going to be a bit short, still in very makeable putting range.
And this was actually fantastic to get to there. I mean, there is nothing over there. I've been over there. I'm usually over there every year since 2010.
The 10th annual.
Yeah, and it is tough.
And Gregg, he's found a way to pitch up, and that'll be a par save. A good approach for Barsby. And James with a long-range look downhill. Oh, and just missing right. That puck gets so fast if you're putting from above the hole. Fortunately, Kevin not able to make a clean swing. Huh.
Yeah, not a mistake you see James make very often, but he made it.
And 2 under on this hole for the event. That is awesome, as only 19 out of our 179 players were able to pick up the birdie in round 2. 3.28 average. Way more bogeys on this one than birdies. 3 times as much, actually. As you see, Kevin and James both picking up bogeys, and James has got to find some magic here. He is 2 over through the first 5 holes as we move to hole 6. Par 3, 370 feet, a super low ceiling the whole way, and that grass is pretty thick. So to keep the disc angle up, the nose angle up, and to be able to catch edge and skip, you really have to throw the shot perfect.
Yeah, I've been noticing a lot of people going with the Anheuser play. It keeps the nose down. And then as it stables up, it'll get that skip you're talking about. I didn't get enough turn on that one, so it nosed up on me, straight into the branches. No good. Hopefully Barsby can do better. And if you get a little bit inside right there, you can play a hyzer flip, but that makes that gap that he just hit about a 4-foot gap is all.
Yeah, that was very well done. And Kevin's lining up the forehand roller. This is a great play. The only thing you really have to concern yourself with is a couple of roots kind of by that big tree you just have to miss early. Kevin never quite got that one vertical enough early. If you stand it up early, it doesn't want to go left until late, just the way that the hill is sloped. So that's a bit of an errant shot from Kevin. And we saw James about double the ceiling that you're supposed to throw in round one to see if he can make the adjustment this time around. No, and pretty similar mistake. And yeah, that's a good point about keeping that anhyzer. It controls the nose angle so well.
Another thing about this hole is once we got to the open, out of the woods, it was a bit breezier than the day before. So we actually had a slight headwind breeze, which is actually really important when you're trying to throw that really controlled anhyzer because it'll push you to the right. That's why I was so impressed with how Gregg decided to do the hyzer flip, which really negated the slight headwind that we had.
Good point. As you pick up your par. And Barsby with this short birdie putt left. That is a great birdie to pick up. One of the few holes at this course that actually averages below par for the field.
Really?
It's just pretty hard to take a bogey. If you hit a tree early, there's a lot of openings to save your par and scramble, but doesn't mean there's a lot of birdies. 20% of the field, that's only 36 players. And we got the best players in the world here, so that kind of says a lot. Going to hole 7, par 3, 400 feet, another one of these. It just kind of feels like these are two holes that are very similar the way that you have to drive, except this one's just about 40% longer, or maybe not that long, but it does play that way because the ceiling is so low early. To get there, you really have to power through in that low ceiling angle.
And I also think that this window you have to get through, like that middle window, is way smaller than the last gap.
Oh yeah, for certainly. The last hole, there's pretty much a wide open early gap. It's just low the whole way. Here it's a very tight gap early and low. A little double trouble action for you. And you're going with?
Nuke.
Z-Nuke?
Z-Nuke, yep.
Oh, that is just smoked. Oh my goodness. You can't beat that.
No. There's not often you surprise yourself on the course, but I was just trying to hit the gap, and then all of a sudden it was flying perfect.
Yeah, that was so good. And Kevin going flick roller here. This is looking like very similar to hole 6, just never quite standing up. And this one's really heading out wide right. Probably it'll be a blind approach from all the way out there. Oh, I really wanted to see that roll. That was looking pretty good.
It really was, yeah. That had great angle control, and it just caught the base of that tree.
And that's not going to be an easy putt for Conrad as he's in trouble once again early on. Okay, so he actually did have a look at it.
Yeah, he didn't quite make it to the tree line, which would make it a bit trickier.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of had just a wide open, 100-foot test.
Wow, Barsby drawing metal. He is able to get so aggressive the way he putts so high up and down from all ranges. As fast as this green is, a normal player's putt to get there from that range is going to land where James is.
Yes, he is a dangerous, dangerous putter.
Mm-hmm. Conrad's going to drop another shot. We finally get up to your drive. And that is just A-plus effort on 7. Such a rare birdie to get. This is another bonus birdie without question. Most of the drives in the card that you're going to see are going to be right there in Barsby's, where Barsby landed.
Kevin cleaning up. Looks like Barsby's got a little bit left, but I've seen him make a few of these before.
You don't win world championships by missing that putt, that's for sure. And this course will do it to you. James is definitely feeling the difficulty at this course early on, and we are not even to the brutal holes yet. That's coming up on the back 9, but these holes can be brutal, as you can see. I mean, we got players fighting, and almost everyone on the card's got red numbers so far. Hole 8, par 4, 680 feet. Finally, a hole that kind of lets up a little bit of pressure on you. You can go the big roller and get pretty much most of the way down there and just leave yourself a short putt. The problem is you hit one of those early trees, and once again, Northwood's gold shows. I don't want to say her ugly face because we have to come back in a year, but it shows her ugly face. I said it.
Uh-oh. He said it.
I like this line. A good cut angle. Oh, no. And that was Northwood showing her ugly face. You hit a root and jump up into the branch.
I should have thrown it lower.
Somehow. You threw a roller too high.
Yep. I need to just throw the roller a bit lower.
Oh, my goodness. Barsby. That's what you're looking for right there.
No, honestly, horrible. Really bad break, and that.
Wow, yeah.
That was only about that branch is only about 250 feet off the tee.
Kevin going that right side gap, trying to land the roller vertically, and he has done well, and this thing's got a lot of speed on it. A good tee shot for Kevin.
Yeah, once you beat those first 3 trees, you're going to have a look into the green.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you hit a root.
And James just a bit too wide, catching a little bit of sticks and leaves and just kind of putting the roller off ankle just enough to put him out on the left side. And you're trying to go flick roller? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't really have the ceiling to throw. In order to get there, I would have had to do this in and out, hyzer flip, genius shot, and I just told myself flick roller will get me par no matter what. But I did get pin high.
Yeah, you've actually got a long putt, but a putt nonetheless. Conrad with a great approach. That'll get him a birdie again. He can have a little bogey sandwich with 4 bogeys in between his last birdie. Maybe he can turn that into a little bit of momentum going into the back 9.
I'm just so jealous that these guys got so far.
I know, you were heading there too, buddy.
Oh, man.
Oh.
But first round, I smacked a tree anyway, so I probably would have done the same thing. All good.
And Kevin, they've got the basket surrounded. If you can make this one, that'll be a donation to Edge coming up.
I promise I love charities. It did not look like I like charities right there. I like helping.
I know.
I'm a helpful guy.
Yeah, it can be. So the star frame will have to wait as we see Barsby, Conrad, and Jones collect the birdies on 8.
Just tap-ins, too.
All 3 known for their putter approach abilities, and their drives were long enough to set them up with that useful tool of theirs. Hole 9, par 3, 321 feet. This one is a backhand anhyzer push down the left side, turning over, just missing that big, huge tree by the basket, or simply just a forehand hyzer. To open up the fairway the most, you might want to flip up the forehand just a bit, but a good angled forehand with a lot of speed can come in and get a good skip. Gregg going with a little bit of that flip up play. Oh, and catching those last widest branches right into Barsby up and down jump putt territory. This is looking a bit too tight.
Is it, though?
Oh, okay, maybe not. Kevin Jones' speed is deceiving.
That's the great thing. You know, we saw that in round 1 with Hannum, having that power to just stay completely away from that left side with the stability of the disc. And Barsby has a lot of power, of course, but he's flipping that up.
He's more of a finesse type.
Exactly. So he can get it there, no problem. But flipping it up brings that left side into play, so advantage Kevin.
Well done from James. Trying to match the shot you threw in round 1.
Yeah, just like Austin and Kevin, I'm known for my big power sidearm.
Oh, yeah. This is looking really nice.
Really powerful. Oh, I hit
It's so
one
powerful that
leaf.
butterfly just knocked it out of the sky.
Yep. It was a really big butterfly.
Yes. And you tricked me because you never raised your hand above your waist, and somehow you kept the disc over the rim the whole time.
Well, if you notice, it was actually a low ceiling. So I had to like do that low release nose up kind of thing.
A little stabby. And Gregg, that doesn't need to roll.
And James is on this front nine has just not had the putter going. But that's why they have back nines on.
That's why they have them.
Courses.
Look how close Kevin's drive ended up being.
He almost skipped it in.
It was just so deceiving. It didn't look like he put a ton of power behind that, and yet there he was, just beating that tree there and skipping up, and like you said, almost going in for the one. And let's take a look at that leaderboard check-in as Kevin Jones remains at the top and Barsby remains right behind him. And you're right there in the mix as well, still just dropping one back or two back from Kevin from this round. But we got a little bit of work as Wysocki and Presnell and Barham are all staying there in the mix. Matty O making a little move as well in the front nine. How do you feel about the front nine?
You know, the day was good. I think one of the things that I noticed was the energy on the whole course was a bit different. I think the course was playing a lot harder with that little breeze and second day. And so I'm going to be curious to see how we all do on the back nine, of course, and see how it shapes up.
Well, you heard it from him. We're going to see the back nine here in a moment. Thank you so much to the JomezPro Founders Club. We love you. Catch you guys soon.
Love you too.